Hello, Gary Simon of DesignCourse.com. Today is January 24th with our 24th video of the year, and we're going to begin the mega tutorial and actually get to work in Blender by modeling our breathalyzer. So as always, if you need access to the final project file, that is available for free in the description below this video. And also please check out DesignCourse.com if you haven't yet, and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, let's get started. Okay, so if you've never used Blender before, to select objects, it's right-clicking. To hold Shift, you can select multiple objects. To move around in the viewport, you use your middle mouse button or the third mouse button. And to zoom up, use your scroll wheel. And to pan, you use Shift and your middle or third mouse button. All right, so File, New. I'm going to just reload that so we're looking at the same thing. We're going to stick with this cube. So we have to make some adjustments. Let's go ahead and zoom up a little bit. Hold S. Hit Z to scale it down on the Z axis. And I'd say right around there. We'll move it up a little bit. And we want to keep this thing basically a square, so we're not going to change anything else other than that. And so now what we want to do is make the corners beveled. So to do that, we'll drag out this over here. And we'll click on the modifiers. Add modifier, bevel. Width in segments is basically what you have to deal with here for your options. Now width we're going to leave there. Segments, I'm going to leave at 9 looks fine to me. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a subdivision surface. It basically just makes things smooth. I'm going to increase the view to 2. Alright, okay, so far so good. Now what I want to do is hit apply for this bevel. And now what we want to do is add the circular breathing part that you would put your mouth on for the breathalyzer. Okay, so I'm going to click right around here. This is the origin point. Basically, wherever you click is where the object will be added. Shift A brings up this menu, or you could just go to Add. So I'm just going to hit Shift A, Mesh, and we want to add a circle. And I'm going to hit RX90. So, oops, sorry. It's RY90. There we go. And basically R is for rotate, and then you have your axes right here, which you can make them rotate on those by hitting that key. And I want to hit S for scale. I'm going to scale this thing down quite a bit. We can see it's like not in the correct position, so we can just use these and position it. Now hit 5 for orthographic. We're in perspective mode right here, up here. So if you hit 5 on your number pad, we can go to ortho. Makes modeling a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to scale this down just a little bit more. I'm going to hit 1. Oh, actually, we're on our, that's not the front technically, so I'm just going to hit 3, and we're on the right side. All right, pretty much in the center. And then we're going to go to edit mode. So object mode, you can select objects, you can move them, you can scale them. You can't actually edit the form. So if you hit tab, you can go into edit mode. Now you can see we have 3 different options here. We have the vertex mode, which is what we're currently in. We have the side or the edge, and then we have the face. We want to go to edge and hit A to select all, and then we want to extrude this. So we're going to hit E, and we're going to extrude it on the x-axis. X. And we want it just to be right around there, not quite connecting with that area. All right, so now what we want to do is join these 2 objects. So we're going to get out of edit mode. So we'll hit tab. We'll hold shift and right click on this. Now we have them both selected. We hit Control J. Now we can see this changed this circle into something that looks like a lot smoother circle. That's because of this subdivision modifier. So now we need to go back into edit mode, and we need to connect this to this. But there's an issue. We have 4 sides here, and we have 8 here. So we need to create 8 edges basically that will allow us to connect these two things together. So the way we'll do that is we'll come in here and we'll hit Control R, and that gives us an edge loop. This is purple thing, and we left click once, and then we have to drag it wherever we want it. So I'm going to put it right here for now, and then I'm going to hit 3 to move this on my number pad to move this over here correctly. I'm going to hit Control R again, left click, bring it right about there. Actually, I may want to move these out just a tad bit, so I'm going to hit Alt right click to select that edge, move that out. All right, and then I'm going to hit Control R on this to create a horizontal, and then Control R again, right there, and then Control R one more time, and then click twice. So we have, let's see how many edges we actually have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we need another one. So Control R, and then click twice. So now we have to get rid of the actual faces. So we're going to go to face select mode, right click, hold shift, and select these 4. Hit delete and select faces. All right, so now we're ready to connect this thing up. So the way we do that, we go to edge mode, right click this, shift, right click that, and then hit F. Now we got to do this for all 8 edges. Uh-oh, select the wrong one. All right. Now sometimes you can't see the edge, so you can go to wireframe. There it is. And go back to solid. All right, so this is how yours should look right now. So now I'm going to create some edge loops. Control R. I'm going to create one and push it up here. And then left click. Control R, do another one. Maybe around here. Now I'm going to select all these edges and then extrude them. So to select them, Alt and right click. See, if you just right click, it gives you the one, but Alt click will select all the ones on the same path. We'll go ahead and hit E and then S for scale. Right around there. And I'm going to hit E to extrude again. And I'm going to hit S to scale, just real tiny. And then E again, and then X to push it all the way in. It doesn't matter where, just so it's farther up there. All right. So far, so good. Now we're going to go ahead and add the back piece. And the back piece is where the actual, power connector thing will go. So this can be tricky if you don't do this correctly. So what we want to do is basically add a cube. So I'm going to get out of edit mode, and I'm going to go to Shift A, Mesh, Cube. Now it's real big, so we're going to scale this down. Well, I'm going to move it up real quick. Scale it down, hitting S. I'm going to move it over here. And just move this down. I'm going to hit 3. Now, right now that gives us the right, but to go to left, hit Control 3. And then we want to go to the front so we can see the side. We're going to hit S and Z to scale this down a little bit. All right. Control 3 again. We're going to hit S and Y to go on the Y-axis. Say right around there. We also got to move this over. All right, so far so good. And that's a pretty, well, S and X just a tad bit. It doesn't need to be that thick. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm going to tab out of here, or wait, no, we're in edit mode, so that's okay. If I select this and go back to edit mode with tab, we need to kind of figure out how we're going to join. Basically, remember, we need an even number of edges to connect this to. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is take all of these faces back here, and I'm going to separate them from this object, and then take that resulting object and connect it to this, or join them rather. So the way we'll do this is go to edge mode, where real quickly I'm going to right click and just pull this back, tab out. We'll go back, right click and hit tab to go back there. I'm just going to select all these. Now once they're all selected, I'm going to hit P, and that just basically separates whatever object or whatever selection from your object. So now if we go to edit mode, we have their different objects. I'm going to move this back right around there. Looks pretty decent. And I'm going to select both of them. Make sure you don't select this, and make sure it's just this thing that's outlined. And then we're going to go ahead and hit Control J to join. Subdivision modifier created this little funky looking thing, so let's hit tab. Okay, so basically I'm going to hit Control R and add an edge loop right there, and then pull out just a little bit wider than this area. Control R, pull out right around there. Okay. So now I'm going to hit Control R and basically kind of recreate how many edges there are from the back piece. So yeah, I'll just do this. Left click once, put this right here. Control R, left click. This will just make it kind of quick and easy. And Control R to do one right there. Okay, so you just left click twice. Now we have to get rid of, and this is very important, get rid of the edges. So I want to take this temporarily, not the edges, the faces rather. I want to take this temporarily and hit Control L. That will select only this separate object, even though they're both the same. Because if you hit A and then A, you would select everything. So Control L, oops, just select any random thing on here and then hit Control L. I'm going to back it up. Had an issue, I had to back up, but basically we want to select these faces, hold shift, right click, hit delete, and make sure you don't hit faces. You want only faces, because I did faces when I was doing the tutorial and it got rid of the damn edges too. So I had to back up. So just make sure it's only faces. And then I'm going to scroll around. This one, we'll hit delete, we'll hit faces. It keeps the edge intact. Now we want to get rid of these inner edges. What I didn't want to lose was the top one. So we'll go to edge, right click all these, hit delete edges. All right, so now I want to connect these things up together. So I'm going to kind of keep them far away for now, just because I want to be able to easily select these edges. So those two right there, we'll hit F. There's one here and here, F, 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 right click, shift F, right click, shift F, and then finally come down here and finish this up. This is what yours should look like. There should be no funkiness going around when it comes to this connecting part. All right, so let's hit 7. I want to hit A to deselect everything. Hit B. Sorry, B. Left click, drag. And let's get this thing, oops, Yeah, that's an issue. Sometimes I forget about that. You have to click on this. That way it'll select everything beneath. So hit B. Maybe right around there. All right, so now we want to start defining this so it looks a little bit better. So I'm going to go back. Well, we're in edge mode, so I'm going to hit Control R. And I want to add some at the top. Left click once and drag this up. Right around there, pretty close to the other one. Hit Control R again. And we can drag this in right around there. And then I want to hit Control R. Yeah, right around here. Control R, do the same thing. All right. So far, so good. Now we want to do the next piece, which is going to be its own object. We don't have to merge it. We're just going to push it into there. And that's going to be that metal connector piece that we see. So for the iPhone. So I'm going to tab out. And we'll go ahead and start by, this time we're going to do a new technique to model this little connector. And we're going to do a mirror modifier. So we're going to click around here for our origin point, hit Shift A, Mesh Cube. Hit S to scale. And I'm going to drag this up. Hit 3, or Control 3 rather. Hit S to scale on the Z. Hit Z. Right around there. Get this in here all lined up. Hit S and Y. And we'll move this forward. Right around there. Then what we want to do is hit Control 3 again. I'm going to zoom up here. We're going to hit Control R. Oh, I wasn't in edit mode. Sorry about that. Hit Tab to go to edit mode. Hit Control R. And click once. And then twice. Then what we want to do is hit 7. Hit A. Hit B, and that gives us the option to, it's kind of like the lasso tool in Photoshop. And we want to select, actually let's switch to vertex mode. B, select those, and then hit delete, hit vertices. And then we want to go back here to tab and to object mode. And in here we want to select mirror. And then choose Y. Now it mirrors everything over here, and when we start modeling, it'll automatically duplicate what we're doing. So that's a very handy tool. Probably should have done it for this over here so that these edges are correct, but well, oh well, no big deal. All right, so let's go into tab to edit mode, and it's probably worth having a reference image to know how to model this thing correctly. So I'm going to pause this and find that real quick. And this is basically what we're dealing with here. Pretty much, there is quite a bit of detail. We're not going to get to all of it, but we will do this here. And let me see. There's one that, I know there's a few that have like a perspective view. You can kind of see how there's like a ridge here on the edge. So I'm just going to click back to there, and we'll maybe go back and forth a couple times. So the first thing I want to do, let's go to edge mode. We'll go ahead and I'm going to take all these edges here, hold Alt, right click. I hate when it doesn't do that. I'm just holding Shift, selecting them. I'm going to extrude those, so I'm going to hit E and then Y. And we'll put it right, actually pretty close. And then I want to take the top one, top edge, and push that down. Then I'm going to take all these edges and then hit E and Y. All right, now I want to go back to that reference image real quick. I pause it real quick. We can see it just kind of goes down, it slopes down. So I'm going to pull it out just a little bit more. Take that top edge, pull it down right around there. And as you can see, everything is still mirroring. Okay, and now what I want to do is, I believe on the side, it has, I know I saw it when I was doing this initially. You know, I could do is go to search tools, size, large, get some other ones. So we could see there's kind of like a notch thing here. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way I'm going to deal with this is hit Control R to add an edge loop, left click, drag it right around here. Control R, add one at the top. Control R, add one right there. We'll go to face mode, right click, and then just delete the face. All right. You can see the same thing over here. All right, so now what I want to do is add in those top notches. And the way this will work is, let me switch back here. Sorry, I shouldn't be scrolling around. Oh, terrible tutorial. All right, right here. This is what we want to create. So, yeah, I thought I'd get a bigger view of that. All right, so what I want to do is add some edge loops up here. So I'm going to hit Control R. We're going to add a bunch of these things. So Control R again. And roughly right around, maybe right there. And then, you know, looking back at our reference image, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so Control R again. Right there. All right, and looking back here, it starts like right around here. It's pretty close to the edge, and then ends, you know, kind of like in the midpoint. So this edge loop is already pretty good for the distance, so I'm not going to mess with that. Now I'm going to add an edge loop right here, and it was just right around here. I'm going to add another one though, right here. Actually, before I do that, I want to look real quick at that reference image. There's a part, it kind of sticks up right here. So, and it's kind of back further. It's not exactly in the middle. So I'll add an edge loop there. Wait a second. Boop. Make sure this is working properly. What is going on? Oh, I think it didn't do that initial edge loop. Let me see here. Yeah, it added one at the bottom, but not the top. So that's what that craziness is going on. Let me pull that out. Hit Control R again to add it right around here. Okay. Now it's a little bit confusing. Now we're going to go to face mode, right click, shift, select those four, hit delete, faces. Then we're going to take into edge mode, right click this, and pull it up. All right, so it looks like you can't see anything, but that's because it's the same color down here. But yeah, that's basically correct if I'm looking at it correctly. The shading will provide, so if we want to go to rendered, there we go. Let me zoom out here. All right, that's a lot better. Okay, so now we have to get rid of, obviously, the faces in the middle here. So I'm going to go to solid, face mode. Probably should have got rid of these initially, but that's okay. So I didn't have to do so many, but I'm just holding shift and right clicking. Oops, selected one in the back. You don't want to do that. Oops, this one. Make sure nothing else got selected there. Hit delete faces. All right. So we're not going to be getting like extremely close up on this, so I think that is definitely sufficient. All right, so I'm going to hit tab, and I want to go ahead and add a plane here and kind of set some other stuff up. So we're going to select just around the center somewhere. Hit Shift A, Mesh Plane, S for scale, 10 to multiply the scale by 10, and push it down just to right around there. Okay, and then I want to change this to cycles render. I'm going to go to the world tab and change the background to like a gray. We're going to go over there to this tab, and this is where we control the materials. And right now the plane is selected, so I'm just going to hit new, and we're going to choose diffuse and make it a gray color. All right, so we have separate objects here, and what we want to do is make sure that this, and that one up there, which is still the same, this part of this same object has the same material. So what I want to do is select both of them, and we're going to give these materials. So if I click use nodes, I can change this color, or rather change this surface to a mix shader. Mix basically allows you to add two different shaders and control which one is shown more or not. And then we want to make the top one is diffuse, and I'm going to choose like a gray. Bottom one, the bottom shader down here will be where's that? This one right here. And I'm just kind of experimenting right now. We'll see what this looks like here in 1 second. I also want to, I know I'm going to want to lighten the scene up, but real quick, let's go over here to rendered. Okay. And I'm going to go here to render. I'm going to change the device to GPU compute, makes it a lot faster. And then I'm going to come down here for sampling. Renders at 10, that's a very low. Just for now, I'm going to hit 100 and preview 100 as well. The preview is this view right here. So, oops. So if I move around, the quality would be a lot better. I also want to lighten the scene up. So I'm going to go here to solid mode just so I can see what's going on. I'm going to click around the camera, or maybe around here. And I'm going to Shift A plane, RX45, and we're going to give it a new material of emission. Where is it at? There it is. I'm going to leave the color white. I'm going to change this to 20. So now if we go into rendered mode, we can start seeing what this thing looks like. Pretty cool. Okay, so This one over here, this object doesn't have a material. So if you right click on it, you can't see if it's clicked because we're in rendered mode, but you know we have it selected because it just changed to nothing over here in the material. So if we hit new, we can go ahead and change that color to, or that surface to, on a, I haven't even attempted to really pronounce that, so I'm not going to. And let's see here. What we could do, I'm going to take this color right back here, or not color, the plane, right click it. You see the, and also if we go to the world, we can see how things can really, just adjusting things can really affect the appearance of their overall scene. Come back here. And also quickly duplicating the emission plane. So if we go back to solid, Shift D, X, and then maybe taking both of these, Shift D, Y, and then R, X, and just flip them around. Go back into rendered. Now these are all pretty bright, so if I select them, well, let me switch back to solid here. We can change the strength here to 10, rendered. You can also change the positions by hitting G. I'm just kind of putting it out there. All right. Now I want to select on this, and we can start experimenting with how this ultimately looks. And I'm going to switch to perspective view, so hit 5 on the number. That way those lights aren't getting in our way. All right, so roughness, if you take that down all the way to 0, you can see it makes everything really smooth. And remember this FAC value, if it's at 0, it's going to go 100% diffuse, but if you go all the way up, it's going to go to 100% anisotropic. Someone's going to call me out on that. So as you can see, it significantly affects the appearance of everything. So real quick, let me go back here. I'll right click on this one, and the roughness, that's a little bit more realistic. All right, I just paused that just to make sure I want to do the next step correctly. So let's go to solid, right click it, make sure this is selected. Go to our modifiers. For the mirror, we're done modeling it, so we can hit apply. So now it's no longer a mirror, it's one solid mesh. So add modifier and solidify, because before we saw it was like paper thin. So now if we go back into rendered, and we have the thickness here, we can control how thick this thing is. And you can see, I think right there would be fine, right there. All right. All right, so now this thing is way too glossy looking. So if you right click it, we come over here to materials. Yeah, I want to make sure our final view that we get everything kind of in the same shot. And I'm going to play with these colors. Yeah, maybe right around here. Roughness we want to turn up for sure. And this color, I think right around there is decent. So we have a little bit of, it's not solid as it was before. And then real quickly, I'm going to do some more detail over here. So with this object selected, let's hit Tab and go hit 5 on the number pad to get to our different view. I'm going to hit 7 for top view. I'm going to hit Control R, right or left click, put one real close right around there, and then another one, Control R. There it is. And put it right there. I'm going to zoom up, Alt, right click that middle one. And then I'm going to rotate around. I'm going to hit S to scale that in. All right. So now if I hit rendered, you see there's just like a little lip around there. All right. And I think I did want to do the same thing for the edge along here. So let me go to solid, Control R. As long as we can do it on this side. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I think it would end up screwing things up. So, no, I think this is good to go for now. Okay, so let's go back, get out of edit mode, go to rendered. We'll hit 5. All right. I'm going to right click on, we're just about done. I'm still experimenting with stuff. Yeah, we want this to be down just a little bit. All right. So far, so good. I just right clicked the back of this plane. I want that to be a lot bigger. So S5. That way, when we're wanting to see what we want to work with, that's not cut off up there. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to world. Yeah, I think what I'll do is leave that back there. If I just... Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to end the modeling and the texturing part right here. So I think we did enough to where tomorrow we can come in and get our final renders of this and then begin to design kind of, what we want to go here in the center area for the animation. All right, so go ahead and make sure you save your file, and tomorrow look for that next tutorial. All right, I will see you then. Goodbye.